Hey guys, welcome back. Today on The Untidy Artist, we are making the Amethyst Birthstone Fairy of the Month. This is a new series I started for 2021. If you missed the January Garnet Birthstone Fairy, I will put a link to that below. If you're new, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you enjoy this tutorial, give it a thumbs up. And let's grab some supplies and get started. So for this entire series, I'm using the Swarovski Crystal Birthstone mix. I thought this would be a fun way to keep all of the fairies consistent. And what I learned about Amethyst is that it ranges from a deep reddish purple to a lighter purple. Here is a necklace my daughter got me. My son is born in February, and on the necklace, the stone was a lighter, softer purple. But in this set, it's a deeper reddish purple, which are the stones that are definitely worth more and more valuable. So for this fairy, we're going to honor all of the colors of amethyst. I found this really pretty purple flower that has some different shades of purple in it, ranging from a lighter purple to more of that reddish hue. And I thought this would just work really well to combine all of those different colors of amethyst. I got this flower at Michael's. I'll put a link for it below. And then I've got some different shades of purple, a metallic, and some lighter and darker purples. I have some poly bands we'll be using to help with our fairy's hair. I have some light purple glitter. And of course, my iridescent glitter that I love, and this gigantic container will last me forever. I've got some little tiny purple flowers we'll be adding to her hair, some Mod Podge, and a paintbrush. I have some E6000. This is what we'll be using to put the little Swarovski crystals on, a toothpick, sharp pair of scissors, my glue gun set on low, and of course we need a fairy. So if you're new to making fairies, you'll want to check out my basic fairy tutorial where I take a wooden bead, a piece of floral wire, and some embroidery floss for the skin and the hair, and I twist it into this beautiful little doll. Now I recently did a skin tone tutorial so you can give your fairy different skin tones. I will link that below as well, but you can see I've already twisted my fairy together. You can style your doll's hair however you'd like. I have a lot of really fun hairstyles I will also link below. And let's get started. So first step, we're going to dress our doll. Once again, that basic fairy doll tutorial will give you slowed down steps on how to dress her. So I just gave her a little V-neck top, a pair of shorts, and then I'm going to set her aside and grab my flower and pull it apart. And I loved this flower. Not all of the petals were even. So after you've got it all pulled apart, you're going to kind of start layering them together in the order that you'd like them to be for her skirt. So I just kind of play around with it for a minute, see how I like them overlapping. And I decided I wanted those really pretty colors at the tips of the petals all facing front. So I really paid attention to that when I was layering them. Then you're going to grab your scissors and cut an X into the center of each flower. And then you're going to start with the top layers and slide them up and around your doll's waist. And while I'm doing this, I'm paying attention to make sure as I arrange them that those colored tips are all facing front. And I pay attention to how they're kind of overlapping. Once you have all of the petals up and around her waist, you're going to take your glue gun and using small dabs of glue, you are going to attach the skirt together. Once again, I arrange it as I go. I spend a lot of time making sure it looks pretty and that the petals are overlapping nicely. And this is what we have. And then I'm going to take that metallic purple. This is actually called light amethyst, and I'm going to give her some gloves and shoes. And I will put a link for the glove and shoe tutorial below in the description. And I just love, I really love gloves and shoes on my fairies. I think it makes them look super fancy. Then we're going to start with her hair. So push the bead down, and one thing I like to do with darker colored hair is push that bead down, and then I use a Sharpie to just color over that floral wire so it's not showing. So when you push that bead back up, you're not going to see the white floral wire. Then I turn her to the back, push the bead down, add a dab of glue right underneath her hair so the hair attaches to the bead, and then you're going to start smoothing that hair out. Now we're giving her a side fishtail braid. This is a hairstyle I did in my December flower fairy. I'll put a link to that below. If this is a hairstyle you would like me to slow down and go through in more detail, let me know in the comments. But what I do is I put a dab of glue on both sides of her hair and one in the back to just hold that down. I spend a lot of time smoothing the thread. After I've got it all smoothed down, I pull it over to the side, I grab my poly band, and I just wrap it around one time just to kind of hold that hair in place. We will be removing it. Then I'm gonna grab my purple thread, and I'm going to take about a 12-inch piece of the three other different colors of purple. I split her hair in half, and then I'm going to line that thread up, take another poly band, and wrap it around twice on one side so it holds that purple thread in place. Now I'm going to start my fishtail braid. So you can see it just nicely holds that thread in place. So to fishtail braid, you're going to split it in two, and you take a small section from the outside and pull it over to the opposite side, and then small section from the other side and cross it over. So you're just going back and forth, grabbing small sections of the thread and pulling it over to the other side. So once again, if this is something you want me to slow down and do a tutorial on, please let me know, because I would be happy to do that. This is one of my favorite hairstyles, and I think it's really fun and bohemian. So once I get to the very bottom, I'm going to grab another poly band and wrap it around just to hold that in place. And I did pay attention to the purple thread. I didn't want it to be perfectly even. I wanted it to kind of randomly go throughout her braid. So I just love how this turned out. Then I took my metallic purple that we use for the gloves and shoes, and I wrapped it around the base of her ponytail. Make sure you wrap it above the poly band, because we're going to go back in and cut that poly band. I put a dab of glue on the back of the knot so the knot doesn't come undone, and then I gave her a little trim. We will go back and cut her hair a little bit more later, and this is what we've got. So now I'm going in and I'm cutting out those poly bands, so the one at the bottom and the two at the top, and they just slide right out. Now, if I were to do this hairstyle again with the colors, I would actually leave that middle poly band in, only because when I cut it out, it kind of loosened the thread at the back. So you could either make sure that that poly band is covered up, or what I did to solve this problem, you can see it kind of flaps down a little bit. I just took a small dab of glue and I just pushed that in place so it doesn't move around. The hair, I always say, is the hardest part. I have lots of fun hair tutorials, so if you'd like to try something different, I will put those links below. Then I grab my Mod Podge on my little paintbrush, and I put a nice, even, thin layer just around the base of her dress, and I added some of that light purple. Then this is the center piece of the flower. I like to use as much of the flower as I can. I glued 3 of those little tiny petals together, and this is what we're going to use to add to the top of her hair as an embellishment. So I kind of decide where I want to put that, take a tiny dab of glue, and glue that down. So now that the glue is completely dried from our light glitter, I'm going to take my Mod Podge and my brush again, and I'm just going to lightly dab a little bit of the glue on top of the purple glitter, and then lightly sprinkle that iridescent glitter over the top and tap it down gently. You could also just combine the 2 glitters from the beginning and do it in one step. Now we're going to add our Swarovski crystals, and you can see I've cut off a little bit of those tiny purple flowers to add as an embellishment as well. So I get some of my E6000 glue, I take my toothpick, get a tiny dab of that glue, put it right at the center of the V on the top of her dress, and then I use the toothpick to help me get that teeny tiny crystal onto her dress. Tweezers, I think, would help with this part a lot, and for some reason my card filled and I wasn't able to film me putting the ones in her hair, but I just put 3 of those crystals right at the top of her hair. So we've got 4 of the Amethyst Swarovski crystals decorating our doll, and then I'm going to take those little tiny purple flowers that I just cut off of the big stem, and I'm going to add those in different spots, cascading down her braid. And this kind of gave me Rapunzel vibes. I just thought it was so pretty, and I thought it helped tie all of those different shades of purple together. And that's it, guys. We're all set. What do you think? I'd love to know in the comments below who has a February birthday. I'd love to know what you think of this beautiful fairy doll. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to be the first to know when I come out with a new video, be sure to click on that bell icon. You guys are amazing. I'm excited for next month's Flower Fairy. I'm hoping to get it out a little bit earlier this month. Thank you guys all for your patience. I appreciate your support. If you'd like to share your fairies, you can do that with the hashtag untidyartistfairydoll on Instagram. I love hearing from you and hope you have a wonderful month, and we'll see you next time.